Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Friday's market wrap-up coming in from a beautiful battleground, Vermont. Beautiful morning up here. A little chill in the air. Heading over to campus here in a little bit to see my son do his passing review. And then they have a football game tomorrow versus Merchant Marine Academy, and he's got his hockey game tomorrow afternoon. So having a great time up here in Vermont. And of course, if I'm on the road, that means something huge is happening in the market. It always seems like when I decide to go on the road, what I predict is going to happen usually happens, and it does. Before we get to the trade news, let me just start with saying this. We're going to review $16,245 in profit this week, folks, across the portfolios. Everything that I predicted that was going to happen by Friday is actually happening, and let's lead with this. I told you by October 11th, I said this 2 weeks ago, I said in the next 2 weeks, by October 11th, something is going to happen in the Gulf. And you're looking at this kind of breaking news. My phone was kind of bubbling over this morning. Iranian oil tanker near Saudi Arabia coast hit by missiles. So the Sabiti was hit by a couple missiles, don't know who. So let me go reverse tinfoil hat stupidity on people. I'm going to say the Iranians did this. I'm going to say that Iran struck its own oil tanker right near Saudi Arabia to cause this. I'm not saying that's fact. I'm just going to say what other idiots have said in the past when our drone got shot down. Well, we shot down our own drone, or all sorts of false flag attacks, right? Of course, those things in the past weren't false flags. I just wanted to sound as stupid as some other people sometimes. I don't know if the Saudi Arabians did this. I don't know if the Iranians did this. I don't know if we did this. I don't know if a little bird with wings did this. Got to dig more into it. Going to be on the phone, going to be on campus today. A lot of, high-ranking military folks walking around up here at Norwich as well, which is good to know. But I told you this was going to happen, and it happened. Really hasn't sunk into the market, so to speak, yet. We're seeing Raytheon up a little bit right now. We'll take a look at all of our Raytheon trades, which are all expiring for max profit here. We'll take a look at the portfolios here. But like I said, Raytheon, here's the original Saudi Arabia attack. I said Raytheon would rally, then Trump did nothing, and then here we are rallying again. We'll take a look at those trades in a couple minutes here. It's been a comical week. I mean, literally, we've been going hour to hour here with this China trade deal. The South China Morning Post, the deal prospects are dim, and then Trump all over the place. We're going to get a deal. Everything's fantastic. Going to see Li Hu in the office this afternoon. I actually put my phone away yesterday so I could go for a hike, and we went to the top of Stowe Mountain here just because it was stupid to try and follow this stuff. It's stupid to try and follow it right now as it goes throughout the day. As I've predicted, folks, with these talks, I said what? No news is bad news. Like if you don't see these pictures, if you don't see this stuff, it's actually bad. Like last time they were here, you didn't hear a word. I'm like, okay, this is bad. And we put on some bearish China trades and some bullish volatility trades, and they left a day early and didn't fly up and see the farmers like they were supposed to, and the market imploded. We nailed it. So again, when you see these type of pictures, as I just saw on TV, and then walking into the USTR office, and Mnuchin and Lighthizer and Li Hu, and everything's fantastic, of course you're going to see this 400-point rally like this back through the 50-day, and here we go, everything's fantastic. No, it's not. So whenever you see these words, U.S. stocks climb on U.S. Trade Talk hopes, right? They go down on fear. They go up on hopes. Let me tell you something right now. If we get this, what I'm hearing, a skinny deal or a smaller deal, this guy's going to look more of an idiot than he already is. For 19 months, he said, absolutely not. We won't get this is a huge deal. I'm doing it all together. Everything needs to be done. There's a lot of big outstanding issues. We're doing it all, or we're not doing it at all. Now we're starting to hear a skinny deal, a short-term deal. He might delay the October 15th thing. If there's any sort of quote smaller deal, don't expect this rally to be sustained. Period. Because folks, we're into this thing. I mean, we're slugging it back and forth. Companies, we're getting ready to get into earnings period, and we've been hitting each other pretty hard back and forth. If corporate earnings are, don't want to take up too much airtime. Great headline. Said, hey, don't expect a risk-on rally, which is what we're seeing right now with the Dow up 400 points, to be sustained on any short-term deal. Period. I'm telling you, I'm going to be right. We've been nailing this all the way up until now. We'll take a look at our one of our FXI trades. We got a bull put spread on expiring today. Look at this thing; it's up 2,100 bucks, 88% profit on limited risk. Beautiful looking trade, bull put spread on FXI. But this don't expect this rally to be maintained on this type of small deal here, because we have a bunch of other clown car. I don't even want to talk about the NBA. It's a national embarrassment, kind of like the NFL, kowtowing, to their supreme China overlord. Same thing with Apple and Google pulling Hong Kong protest apps. So we saw this week that the NBA, these overly pretentious adults who get paid millions of dollars to play a game with a ball, bowing to their Chinese overlords, right? Who do we support in this country? Do we support Hong Kong protesters that want their freedom and want to be free of the tyranny of communist China? Or do we like our NBA players and these limousine liberal tech companies like Apple and Google who are bowing to the Chinese? I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, if the Chinese, not if, when the Chinese are going to force the president to choose between these Hong Kong protesters and a trade deal. And it's going to be interesting to see what the guy chooses, right? Well, it doesn't matter what he chooses, because Republicans and Democrats both can agree that, if they go Tiananmen Square in Hong Kong, ain't going to be no trade deal, and they're actually going to put sanctions on China. So stand by for that. If you don't understand why it's a big deal if they crack down in Hong Kong, you don't know really what's going on in the region, because Taiwan's next. They just launched an amphibious ship whose sole purpose is to invade Taiwan. So if they crack down in Hong Kong, Taiwan's next, and we have a defense of Taiwan agreement, which means, here we go in a war with China, which of course I guess the NBA would support the Chinese. So a lot of good trades across portfolios. We had a bearish trade on Delta and some puts. We had a bear call spread and some puts. Delta shares fall sharply as higher costs overshadow strong travel demand. So we predicted that Delta would implode. We predicted that American Airlines would implode, and both those things have happened. So there you go. There's their boom, big implode. Look at that volume, huge volume, big implosion, and good bearish trade on Delta as well. What's that one? I think that one's up net. The puts obviously aren't super good. Yeah, it's up about $1,000. So, all right. University of Michigan consumer confidence soars above multi-decade highs, and real wages the same way. So really good macroeconomic data that came out this morning. Look at this. So University of Michigan consumer sentiment. So all the Democratic candidates who are trying to talk us into a recession as they run for president, the numbers just simply don't support it. The economy is doing fantastic. So one thing you have to remember, we're in a very tactical market here. One tweet to another, smiling, folks on the USTR reps 15 minutes later, this guy could be gone. What's happening next week? Well, a couple things. On the 15th, the next round of tariffs are supposed to be going into effect. Remember, October 1st, the president delayed the tariffs because it was the 70th anniversary of the Communist Party's founding in China, and he sent him like a happy anniversary text, which literally was stupid, and most Republicans agreed. I mean, Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham had to kind of sent out countermanding tweets, recognizing the millions that have been killed in communist China and the ethnic cleansing that's going on with the Uyghurs in the East. Anyway, but he punted the tariffs to October 15th. So what do we do? Is that part of this semi-deal this afternoon? Is the skinny deal, it's called, that we don't increase tariffs on the 15th, we kind of hold our fire? Great. So if we have this rip your face off rally and semi half a deal, or we halt fire, remember, I love the trade deal headlines where non-military people write them. Trade ceasefire. There isn't a ceasefire, folks. If we don't increase tariffs, we're still shooting at each other. There's no ceasefire if you're still shooting at each other. But what happens a couple days later? Well, we have a Fed meeting. So if the only uncertainty that the Fed's kind of worried about is trade, and we're kind of getting some certainty, why would they be cutting interest rates? So here we go again with, we get relatively quote unquote good news out of trade, and then we get a Fed that's left to sit there and go, well, why should we be cutting interest rates? This University of Michigan consumer confidence is a blowout number, folks. So why would the Fed be cutting interest rates next week? Actually just looked at the Fed funds futures rate. It's actually down. right? So why would we be cutting rates if we have good news on China? We have good news on jobs last week. We have good news out of the University of Michigan consumer confidence. Why? So we're gonna. This is why I call this a very tactical market. We're swinging from event to event to event. Why would we be seeing an interest rate cut? So that if we do get something this afternoon, we actually swing on to the next thing, which is the Fed meeting. All right, let's take a look across the portfolios. We had a volatility bull put spread. This was a one-day trade. We opened it on Monday. I closed mine Tuesday afternoon for about about $1,700 gain. This trade could have expired for $2,250, but we looked to close that in one day. We were bullish on volatility. As soon as we had the market implosion, we got out of it. What's VXX doing right now? It's probably getting a little smashed, obviously, with this rally here. VXX. Yep. 23, 26. So good job getting out of that trade. Yep. So it was the 23.5, 23. So good thing we got out of it in one day. We took our profit. So that's $1,700 profit right there. In the primary joint brief on Tuesday, we looked at a new Raytheon bull put spread. The 192.5, 190 bull put spread, risking about 55 to make 32. I put on that bull put spread for what reason? A potential attack. We're seeing that right now. We're seeing this oil tankers getting hit. What's Iran going to do? Is Iran going to respond? Did it come from Saudi Arabia? Are they going to attack the oil fields again? So right there you go. So we put this on Tuesday, 192.5, and that thing is already, I think, up about $1,000. So another good-looking trade right there. And then in our accelerated retirement portfolio, more good-looking trades. Look at this, a bearish trade on volatility that expires today, the 27.5. This is currently up about $2,300. It'll expire this afternoon for a max profit of $2,400. Then we had look at this one. This one expires today. That last Raytheon trade expires next Friday. See the regular October expiration. This Raytheon bull put spread expired today on exactly what is going on. The 187.5, 185. This is it going to expire this afternoon for a max profit of $2,100. Accelerated retirement. Let me scroll down here. S&P 500 bull put spread expiring today. 28.45, 28.40 bull put spread. We're up here at almost 3,000 again, folks. That trade is also at a max profit right now. That's going to expire for a profit of about $2,200. And then here's the analyze your trade and debrief. We had the Delta Airlines, Vol, and FXI trades. Look at this. Delta Airlines, the bear call spread is at max profit today, the 53.5, 54. The puts went out worthless. I thought Delta would implode even more. They were showing a little profit the other day. And I held on to them, but they go out worthless. FXI, this bull put, well, let me just cover these. Look at this. The VXX 26.5, 27. That went out worthless last week for max profit. This bull put spread expires today on China. Look at this, the 40, 39.5. October 11th. Let's take a look at FXI. 41.51. Boom, look at that. Put on this bull put spread in case the president's doing exactly what he's doing today and trying to talk up the market with a deal. $2,400, folks. Fantastic trades. You ready for this? Across portfolios expiring today, unless something goes in it. And the president's supposed to be meeting with this guy before the market closes, which is interesting. He's no dummy. He's going to have this guy in the Oval Office and talk bullish. So these things should, if everything goes the way it's going right now, which most of the trades I just showed you are way profitable, we'd have to have a massive reversal by the afternoon. $16,245 in profit this week. Let me get a hell yeah if you wouldn't mind seeing about 16 grand in your pocket going into the weekend. We'll debrief all this stuff next week. We're going to open up our doors to our trading squadron. Head to go.topgunoptions.com/FT and register for free. October 14th through the 18th, we're going to open up our doors to what we do here at Top Gun Options, so you can go take a look at our portfolios, how we're trading this China trade door. I would fade this, folks. I would fade this rally. I'd be selling into it. This is not going to be sustained. If this is a temporary deal, if this is a Band-Aid, we're heading back down. And remember, we haven't even gotten into earnings season yet, which is starting in earnest in a couple weeks. We also have Jerome Powell coming up with his Fed meeting, which after each Fed meeting right there, implosion, Fed meeting right there, implosion, Fed meeting right here, rally. I don't think he needs to cut. As a matter of fact, I think the Fed should be sitting on their hands, if not raising interest rates. And he kind of signaled the other day in a speech that he'd be doing QE4 essentially, and doing some Treasury purchases. I don't agree with that. I think the economy's fine. I don't agree with the president just saying we should cut interest rates and I need some QE to goose this market. I just don't. I think that's self-serving, and I don't think it's good for the country. But anyway, we'll talk about all these issues next week. Go.topgunoptions.com/FT. That stands for Full Throttle, and you can see how we closed nearly over $16,000 in profit. Okay, I got to get going. Have a good rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge, and God bless. I'll talk to you guys on Monday. We'll see you.